NFL teams don't need a number one receiver, and here's why. Packers, Chiefs, and other NFL teams are increasingly moving away from relying on a single alpha dog in their receiving core. Jordan Love, the highly regarded young quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, demonstrated his capabilities in the second half of the 2023 season. From Week 10 through the Packers' 24-21 divisional round loss to the San Francisco 49ers, Love completed 254 of 374 passes, 67.9%, for 2,904 yards, 7.8 yards per attempt, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a passer rating of 107.7. Remarkably, Love achieved these numbers without what many would consider a true number one receiver. While the Packers had solid targets in Jayden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft, and Dontavian Wicks, none were perceived as dominant enough to force defenses to focus exclusively on them. And that's exactly how Love prefers it. "I think you don't have to have a number one receiver," Love said on June 4th. "It works out well when you can spread the ball around, and different guys are making plays in different areas. It puts a lot more stress on the defense and their calls. Not having a true number one guy can help us in the long run, as all those guys can step up and be the go-to player on any given day." For Love, this approach allows him to make the best play based on the progression, rather than feeling compelled to target a single top receiver. "I can just play the play." During an appearance on Colin Cowherd's show on July 19th, Tom Brady discussed the challenges of having a number one receiver and structuring the entire passing game around him. "You always felt like you had to do something to get them the ball," Brady said. "I want him to keep running hard and be ready for when the ball comes his way. The last thing you want is your number one receiver to go 2.5 quarters without seeing the ball because he's going to get discouraged." Brady's own career offers an interesting perspective. Although he had Randy Moss for a few seasons and Rob Gronkowski at his best, the greatest quarterback ever often succeeded without a true number one receiver, indicating a trend in the NFL away from relying heavily on a single-star receiver. A true number one receiver is not merely an outside threat in isolated situations, but must excel in various challenging scenarios. They need to beat press coverage at the line of scrimmage, outrun tight match coverage against top cornerbacks, and have answers when bracketed by defenses. Ideally, they possess both exceptional speed and route-running skills, making them a consistent and reliable target for their quarterback. However, even if a team has such a player, it doesn't always guarantee success. Furthermore, the league has only a limited number of these elite receivers at any given time. Players like Justin Jefferson, Ja'Marr Chase, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, and Davante Adams. Consequently, NFL teams are spreading their resources more evenly and relying on advanced schemes and collective unit performance rather than focusing on a single receiver. Creating number one receivers through collective effort. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur highlighted the importance of a cohesive receiving unit rather than a single standout receiver. "It's more about the collective unit of all those guys and just the rapport that they're building with Jordan throughout the offseason," LaFleur said. "I'm excited to get to training camp with them. All those guys had their moments as the leading receiver in a game. I feel really good about the collective unit. The hardest part is getting everyone the touches they deserve, but that's a good problem to have." Having a balanced receiving core allows for more strategic play calling and prevents defenses from focusing on one player. For instance, last season, Jayden Reed and Romeo Doubs tied for the Packers' lead in receptions on passes of 20 or more air yards, each with 9 receptions on 19 targets. LaFleur used Reed's speed and motion concepts and Doubs' route precision to exploit defenses, creating opportunities for big plays. The Kansas City Chiefs' recent success is a prime example of thriving without a true number one receiver. Despite not having a consistent number two receiver beyond Travis Kelce, the Chiefs won their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 seasons. They compensated for this by using advanced strategies, such as leading the league in dropbacks with pre-snap motion and employing multiple tight end sets. Patrick Mahomes' effectiveness with different formations and motion concepts highlights the Chiefs' ability to adapt and succeed without a dominant wide receiver. Similarly, other teams like the San Francisco 49ers and Detroit Lions have utilized strategic formations and diverse personnel to maximize their offensive potential without relying on a single top receiver. In today's NFL, the emphasis is increasingly on spacing and matchups rather than traditional routes and coverages. Offensive coordinators are constantly innovating to win these battles, making it challenging for defenses to anticipate and counteract their strategies. While having a number one receiver is advantageous, more teams are finding success by spreading the ball around and utilizing a collective approach. This trend allows for greater flexibility and unpredictability, making it harder for defenses to key in on any one player. So, while a number one receiver can be a valuable asset, the best defensive minds in the NFL are proving that you can win without one by focusing on scheme, diversity, and collective performance.